Hi all, it's Diana from The Wayward Cat and Wayward Cat Publishing, and today I thought I would do some filming while I work on the cover for my latest junk journal. I don't often film while I'm crafting. I tend to just do the journal and then do a flip through at the end. It's quite a process to film it while you're doing it, but I thought I would give it a try this time. So I start my covers, most of them, with corrugated cardboard, and I cut it to the right size, and then I lightly score it where I want the spine to be and bend it up, and then I cover it with brown wrapping paper or packing paper that you sometimes find in the packages that you get. And I usually do the front first, and I glue it on flat. Then I trim the corners at an angle and fold them over, and then I lay a piece on the inside and glue that down. And that is how I end up with this base. So this journal is going to have 6-inch sides and a 2-inch spine. Usually after I cut the corrugated cardboard, I do fold it up like this and have to trim it and make sure that it's even before I cover it with the packing paper. Okay, so for this journal, I had to plan this out really carefully. I thought I might put this on the inside front cover. This is some weird paper that I made. It's just a roll of brown paper towel and just layers of that with just plain old like Elmer's glue watered down in between each layer. And then this last layer, it looks like I put a piece of vellum on it. It's been a long time since I made this. I have no idea why I would put this piece of vellum on the top. Oh, I guess it's because as I was doing it, it was just really, really brown. And I wanted to be able to see the stuff that I put in between the last layer and the layer before it. Here's some gold leaf, some bits of fabric, there's some threads. I put some green tea and some black tea, and somewhere you can see little leaves here that I got from my yard. And so I guess I put vellum on there. I don't remember doing that. I'll have to maybe play around with this again and do some filming of it. And I have kind of struggled to find a way to use it because it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird looking, don't you think? But I thought it would make a cool inside cover. That being said, I didn't want to sew my signatures onto this. I didn't think that that would work very well. So I thought, okay, I will just line it like this and sew the signatures on the regular spine. But I didn't want to see the brown paper because the first signature is probably not going to be sewn into about here. So enter this. This came from a photo album that I found at Goodwill. And it looks kind of handmade, but I don't know. It definitely looks handmade. And the cover was really weird and handmade. I think you get them as kind of touristy things. I'm not sure, but I found that one at Goodwill, and so this paper's pretty cool to use. So I snipped some of that. So I think I'll cover the spine here like this, and then I'll be able to put this on each side on the inside cover. But I also don't want these edges to show. They usually show on most of my journals, but this time I didn't want that. So I think I'm going to take this fabric, which has been tea dyed, and I'm going to glue it on first, just here, like that. And I'm not going to trim the corners. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do there because the inside will be covered. All right, maybe I will trim the corners. And then on top of that will go this. And then the inside cover will be covered. So, I mean, this part will be covered. All right, That's what I'm going to try to do. And then I will sew in the signatures. And then I will work on what I'm going to do with the rest of the front cover. All right, let's try it. So if I'm going to cut these corners, first of all, I want to make sure these lines are relatively straight. And sorry about the table. It's very dirty. You should see my room and my desk. When I get to this point in making a junk journal, everything is a terrible mess. But instead of it like making me not be able to work, it kind of inspires me because there's junk everywhere for me to find and use. All right, so get out my tool. You can find this online somewhere. If I find it, I will link to it. I mostly use it for this. Oh, put that on the corner. Make sure I'm straight. I'm straight as I'm going to get. And then I mark it where I'm going to cut it. You know what? No, I thought I might glue it down first, but no. Usually with the wrapping paper, I would glue it down first and then do this so it doesn't move. But I just want to glue this on the inside front cover. I don't want to glue it down. I think I'm making things really hard for myself. But I don't want to glue it down on the front cover because the glue's going to show through with this fabric. And I haven't decided yet exactly what I'm going to be doing with the front cover. I think I'm going to be using stuff like this ripped away corrugated cardboard. I've done that in some of my earlier journals, the nature journals, for example, and I think I did flip throughs of those if you're interested in looking at that. All right, so I think if I take it off and cut them, I can get that placed again. This is the string that I pulled off of here. I cut it and pulled it off, and of course I have to save it. I might use it for something, but it's just all over my table. All right, cutting the edges. I hope I'm still in the camera. Get those. And here. All right. Goodness. All right. Find my cover and let's place it on here. Maybe up a little more. All right. That will do, I hope. Looks like I should go over a little more. All right, let's try it like that. I don't know, it doesn't look perfectly straight. Oh, this is no time to be a super perfectionist. Oh, it's a junk journal, right? It's not a masterpiece. Well, it is kind of a masterpiece, but it's junk. Yeah, all right, I'm not liking the way that looks, so I'm gonna... No, the lines are relatively straight. All right, I'm going for it. I'm going to put glue here. And fold this over. Now I've got glue all over my hands. Rub that off. I'll be peeling glue off of my hands all day. All right, and now I'm going to do the bottom. Nope. I don't know if I did this well enough. Looks like I don't have as much on the bottom. I have Nope, see, I have goofed. Ugh. Not only have I goofed, I have goofed on camera. All right. Get rid of the glue, rip it up, and start again. Maybe I should have glued it a little bit on. Why is it not working? That looks good. All right, that's definitely better. All right, that will do. Gives me a little overlap there. Just would like to make sure it's fairly tight. Yeah, that looks all right. All right, now I'm gonna try to do the sides. Wish me luck. I'm gonna try to fold that in. And you know what? I see pencil mark. Try to get some of that pencil mark off. All right, some glue here. Glue. I think I do things a little neater when I'm not filming. I don't like that at all. Don't like that point. It's gotta go in like that. And then I'll have to trim that off. So we gotta fold that point in and then fold that over. But you've gotta get enough glue there to hold it. Yeah, that might work. And then of course, in the end, see, that's not working. All right, let's see if I can get a little glue on here. Well, I'm gonna keep going with it. I don't know how much I'm gonna like the result. So. Yeah, I don't really like this here. A little more glue. If I don't like it in the end, I still got glue coming from the bottle. Yeah, if I don't like the end result, I can always rip it off and do something else. Now, my fingers are too sticky to hold this down. This is a half of a set of chopsticks that I'm using. All right. Let me get the glue off of my fingers, and then I think I'll go ahead and glue that down. All right. Let's just put some glue all over it. it will be held down also by when I sew the signatures in. And when I glue on the cover, I mean the inside cover stuff, which is this stuff, so it'll look something like this. We'll see. We'll see how it looks in the end. Well, I know I wanted to put this on the top, but now I'm not really liking the way it looks here. I'm going to let that dry for a while before I try to bend it up, and we'll see how it looks. All right, I'm going to try to bend it up now. It looks good. That looks good. Need a little bit of extra glue in some certain spots. Where is my other glue? There it is. This is the Barely Arts glue. Put some of that in here. See if that will work. Is glue coming out? So the next thing I'm going to do is sew in my signatures, and I'll show you my little template right here. I've already created the template, and what I will do is make sure that is where I want it. Maybe put a little bit of tape on it. Looks good. And then I will poke the holes. It's definitely harder to do this when you're filming because you're trying to make sure you're in the camera properly while you're doing everything. Luckily though, since I've got fabric on this, it will, the tape will come off easier and won't rip anything, but I usually cover my covers with more stuff, so it doesn't really matter. All right, I'm going to poke holes in this and then sew in a signature. And where's my book? Here we go. This is my book I use for gluing and poking holes and all that kind of thing. All right, let me get my awl. And we will poke. Whoa. Now see, those probably came through, but they're very hard to see because of the fabric. So now I'm going to make them a little bigger. And I might need the awl to help me when I start the sewing. I can see little holes. I don't know if you can see them. But luckily, I'm going to be sewing my signatures this time with the knot and tie in the inside. So I'll be starting from the inside. That'll help a little bit. All right, so let me show you my signatures. If I can find them. Here they are. These are the signatures for the new journal. I've already been working on them. kind of trying to get an idea of how poofy it was going to be. And this is the order that I want them in. So this is signature 1, 2, and 3. So I start with number 3, and I will film putting in this first signature, and then I will do the rest on my own. So to do the first signature, which is, wait, number 3. Let's make sure, yes, that's number 3. I took it in the middle of the book. Where's my thing? Oh yeah, I have to get this off of my cover. Come on, tape. There we go. And you have to fold it on the number 3. See how I've got top and they're labeled 1, 2, 3. So find the center. There's my center. And press down number 3. And the line on the top and the bottom, let me clip this. These are the lines here on the top and the bottom. That corresponds to, well, you can't see it now. Corresponds to basically where I wanted the top and the bottom signature to line up on the book. More clips. Clip this together. One more clip. All right. Line that up again. That looks pretty good. All right. Poking holes. And the last hole, I leave it in, pull it out. Now I get out my thread and needles, which of course I haven't done yet. So I'm not completely prepared. I have to open up a new thread, waxed thread. I hope this is good thread. Get this. That's wrapped really well. Yeah, that feels good. Feels like good waxy thread. Find the beginning. Got glue all over my fingers. And a nice needle. Let's see if I can do this one. I try not to get too big of a needle. Sorry about all the glue on my fingers. But you do want the eye to be big enough to get your thread through. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 times the length of my signature. Let's see. Now I did do this on film once. Let's see if it goes as smoothly as it did that time. It did. Nice. It doesn't always go that smoothly. All right. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mark this top and bottom. That's just great, right? All right, well, I gotta take this out anyway. I'm pretty sure this was top and this was bottom, and there are the holes. Yeah. Is that lining up? Tell you what, let's see if it lines up this way. Yep. I think this is the top. There, the holes are lining up even better. All right, wish me luck that I did it right. So this is the top. I'm gonna put a T here. All right, and this is the third one. So we're gonna put our needle through this hole and through this hole. Leave enough here to tie. And now the tricky part is going to be finding the top hole. I'll need my awl. And let's poke that through again. I can see it. I hope you guys can see it. I hope I'm on camera. Now I can see the hole and I can poke it through. And now it must go through this hole. Nope, that did not work. Sure, it works really well for the awl. The awl goes through just fine. There we go. Pull all that thread through. Now I'm going to go down here to the bottom hole. And the bottom hole here. Pull it through. And then I'm going to go through this hole again, and I'm going to try not to put it through the thread that's already there. Oh dear, that's terrible. That's better. I put sort of another hole in my cover there, but with the fabric and everything else that's going to be on it, it will be all right. All right, pull that through. See which one that is. There we go. And then we want one thread on either side of the middle. I'll tie that as tightly as I can for now. And then after I finish working on this journal, if it comes loose, I will go through and loosen it up. If not, and then tie it tighter. All right, that's the third one. Now I'm going to do the second and the first, and then I will be back. Okay, I thought I would go ahead and tape doing the final, or the first signature, which is the final one that I'm going to sew in. And then we'll have a look at what we've got so far. Around here to make sure I've got it right side up, and I need the awl again. Poke a nicer hole there so we can see it in there. And in here. Nice. And down to the bottom. Pull out that thread. There we go. And now try to go into this hole without going into the thread. Oh, that'll do. Nice, it worked. I don't know if I was in camera for that. There we go, and then put that on the other side of the middle thread. Pull it nice and tight, and tie a knot. Take off my clips. Now I can tie bows in these, or you can put things on them. I didn't make them long enough. If you make the threads even longer, you can put beads on the bottoms. I haven't done that yet. So this is what we have so far. And then, let me erase this. So you see how much space is in between the signatures and the crease of the spine. So the question is, I didn't think I wanted to go all the way up to here with this. I think I will use it. It's pretty weird looking. I like that. But I didn't know how well this would crease. So I thought I would put it up to the crease and then put some kind of lace or other trimming here. But I am going to give that a think before I do it. And then here I will be doing some kind of decoration on the outer cover. All right, so there's your first sneak peek of my latest junk journal. And when it's all finished, all right, I'm gonna have to set a book on that and make sure these creases are good. Oh, here. And look, I poked a hole in my hole poking book. This is a really big one while I was doing that. All right, I will be back with a flip through when the journal is finished. Thanks for watching this video as I stumbled through doing this, and I hope you got inspired or maybe learned something. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.